there are three areas that need to be addressed. The first one is to tackle the ideology preachers, especially in universities and prisons. In the past, universities and prisons were always the breeding ground for radicalism and for violent extremism. The second area they need to focus on is financing. So the more they tackle terrorism finance, the better, because without money, without the the financing that these groups get, these people wouldn't be having the ability to travel abroad and join these people for training. The other thing also that need to be focused on is the question of controlling immigration, in particular illegal immigration. The problem we are having with arrivals who usually and unfortunately do not present their identities and try to conceal their identities. That is one of the biggest vulnerabilities that not only the UK, but most of Europe suffer from.
Right, so the government at the moment, of course, fighting to pass its illegal migration bill to stop the small boats that you're talking about there. So that's a move that you would back, and you would go further in terms of identification of these people on the boats.
Yes, indeed, because if we remember what happened in Paris in 2015, that was the doing of people who actually exploited the migration routes from the Middle East and North Africa in order to carry out one of the worst atrocities in Europe in terms of terrorism in modern times. And one of the things we have to understand is that many of these people, when they come in, in their small boats, they completely destroy any identity papers they might have had in the past. This is why it is important that we do not allow anyone whatsoever, whoever they are, from concealing their identity. Therefore, if the government would implement a system through which they reward those who present their papers in full with a complete history, their education, their previous health reports, their certificates, their IDs. Yeah, they need to present the full history of, and the full background. But concealment, this is not a good start to begin with. Okay. It indicates bad intention.
I'd like to just change the subject slightly. Newspapers are reporting the imminent release of what they call a significant number of terrorist prisoners, including the first British jihadist jailed after going to Syria in the 2010s, and a gang arrested in connection with a plot to blow up the Blue Water shopping centre in 2004. So how worried should we be about arrested terrorists now being released back into society?
Worried, we should be. And the reason for that is the lack of a proper rehabilitation program in prison for those who were imprisoned for terrorism offenses. For example, in countries such as Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, they have programs through which the release of those convicted on terrorism offenses, they are not allowed to be released back into society unless if they go through a rigorous rehabilitation program in order to make sure that when they are released, they are not going to go back to joining these groups or to basically fall back into that dark ideology.
Right.
Unfortunately, the UK prison system does not have a comprehensive program like that. And so they are released only to be a burden on the security services who have to monitor them for years to come.
That's food for thought. We thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Aimen Dean, thanks for joining TalkTV.
You're welcome.